looking for the best African folktales with moral lessons, you've come to just the right place. Welcome to Kindling. I'm Awe, your storyteller, and today I'm going to tell you a story from the Central African Republic. Now, this landlocked country lies in the heart of Africa and is covered by dense rainforests, savannas, and rivers. Perhaps because of its remote location, CAR has immense biodiversity and is one of Africa's best ecological treasures. In today's story, we meet a well-known creature who is led purely by self-gratification, and we learn why it's important not to give in to temptation. This is the story of the dog and the chicken.
Once, long ago, when humans and animals lived side by side as equals, the dog and the chicken were very, very good friends. And one day, the chicken set out on an important journey. He had found a woman he wanted to marry and went to fix words with her family. Now, when he returned, his friend dog asked him, "Where have you been?" "I've been searching for a wife," the chicken replied. The dog's ears perked up in excitement. "I would like a wife too. If you see another good woman in that family, would you come and tell me?" The chicken nodded. "As a matter of fact, I have already seen the younger sister. If you want, you can come along with me and fix your words for her." The dog was very excited. The thought of a beautiful and kind wife filled his little heart with joy. So the two went off together to meet the young woman's family. Now, when the dog saw the younger sister, he was very, very pleased with her, and he wanted to take her as his wife. He then sent word to the family to ask their permission to marry her. Now, the family agreed and invited him back to their home to discuss the marriage properly. Now, it was up to the dog to go and fix his words with the family and present himself properly to the girl. So, before they returned, the chicken decided to give the dog a few words of advice about how to behave. "Now listen, dog. When we go, they will give us food. We must not eat too much. We will only eat the meat and leave the bones." "Hmm, The dog frowned. "Why should we leave the bones? They are the best part." "Trust me, it is a matter of respect," the chicken insisted. "Trust me, this is how things are done." Hmm, 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 hmm. The dog reluctantly agreed, although he did not understand. The chicken then gave the dog some other advice about how to behave when they arrived at the house of the family. Now, when the day finally came for their visit, the family welcomed them with open arms. A goat was slaughtered in their honor, and a huge feast of celebration was prepared. As they ate, the dog tried his very best to follow the chicken's advice. He carefully ate only the meat and not the bones. The chicken did the same, eating a little and then tossing his bones to the side. But the sight of so much uneaten meat and so many bones made the dog's stomach grumble. His mouth watered at all the juicy pieces of meat and bones being swept up into the garbage hole. His heart ached at all the sight of all this food being wasted. When the meal was over, the chicken's bride-to-be brought water for them to wash. Now, the chicken, of course, removed his clothes in the washroom and went to get washed. But the dog did not follow. Instead, he said, "I've lost some things in this case. I lost something in the things they swept away. Let me go and find it first." And without even waiting for a reply, he slipped away and went to ask where the garbage hole was so that he could retrieve what he had lost. He left his clothes hanging on the wall of the wash house and went to find the bones to eat. Now he could have what he really wanted. And the moment he reached the garbage hole, he dove in and quickly began to eat. There, hidden in the scraps, were all the tasty, juicy bones that he'd longed for. He crunched and chewed, wagging his tail with delight. Oh, it was delicious. This was really eating. But just as he was chewing away at a very tasty bone, the younger children of the family came back on their way from playing in the woods. They stopped in their tracks. There was the dog eating bones. Ah! Ha! Look, the dog is eating from the garbage hole, one of them shouted, and the others all burst into laughter, clapping and pointing. Is this the man who came to marry our sister? The dog's heart suddenly started to pound very fast. He was terribly frightened and embarrassed. Here he was in the middle of the garbage hole, eating bones. He had been so lost in his greed that he'd forgotten where he was. He had forgotten everything that the chicken had told him about how to behave. Shame washed over him, and without thinking any further, he jumped up and ran away as fast as he could, of course, leaving his clothes behind in the process. Well, back at the house, when the family heard what had happened, they shook their heads. How can a man who eats from the garbage marry our daughter? With that, the marriage was called off. And then, when the chicken found out what had happened, he was furious. He cried, "You have embarrassed me and disgraced me in front of my in-laws in their house," he scolded. "Because of you, I can never hold my head high there again." And from that day, the chicken and the dog became enemies. Even now, you'll notice that whenever they meet, the chicken pecks at the dog, still angry at the shame that he brought onto him. And that is where the story ended.
Poor dog. He could not resist a tasty bone to chew on, but of course, that lack of self restraint cost him everything in the end. He lost his wife to be, his dignity, and his friends' respect. So, the lesson for us all is not to focus on the temporary and instant pleasures at the expense of a bigger goal. Sometimes a little sacrifice now can lead you to greater things in the future. Next week, we'll journey to Chad for another tale that will warm your heart and spark your imagination. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindling, where stories light up our world.